I'm here with United Conservative MLAs Leila Goodridge and Leela here. We've just come out of the legislature, some shocking developments where the NDP government has voted against protecting women from predator doctors. Now, back in the spring, we learned about a physician who had been convicted of sexual assault against several of his patients, and shockingly, he got his license to practice medicine back from the College of Physicians and Surgeons. So we raised this, both Leila and I did at the time. I told the government we would encourage them to come forward with legislation to fix this problem and that we would support it. Here's the exchange I had with the health minister this spring.
Can the minister clarify, please, whether or not the College of Physicians and Surgeons has agreed that they will withdraw licenses to practice from physicians who are charged with sexual assault or are under investigation for that kind of terrible crime?
When I raised this as one step that we might be considering here in Alberta, the college said they would certainly comply with us in making that the case, were this House to adopt legislation that would enable them to do so, Mr. Speaker. So
I think the minister is telling us that the college will not do this unilaterally, but it requires legislation. Why could the college not take its own disciplinary action to withhold licenses from physicians accused of sexual assault? And secondly, I can assure the minister that we would cooperate with the expeditious passage of any legislation granting the college that power.
So there we are. We were willing to cooperate, and they did bring forward legislation. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so we're happy to see this legislation come forward. We are talking about an extreme breach of trust. Extremely intimate situations where people are extremely vulnerable, and all of a sudden that trust is completely gone. The legislation, though it came forward, we're happy to see that. We felt it was imperative that we strengthen that, and I think that we should probably talk a little bit about
so that there's loopholes because it didn't ban these doctors from getting their licenses after 5 years following their conviction. Why don't you tell us about the amendments?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. So we put forward a couple amendments that restricted the amount of time that they had before they could get their license back, as well as restricting them from ever being able to practice on a patient again.
Right. So I want to thank these great MLAs for their hard work on this bill. I'm glad the government came forward with something, but the real question is, why does the NDP think it's acceptable that a doctor convicted of sexual assault of one of their patients should be able to apply for and potentially get a license to practice medicine again after just 5 years? We think this is the wrong approach, and that we need to send an absolutely clear message about protecting women and patients.